What's up, YouTube? Thanks for swinging back by for another review. Today's kind of a two-part review. I'm doing a little bit of a follow-up to a review that I already did for the Council Vapor Mini Volt. I'm going to give you a few more of my thoughts and takes on it. I've had a couple more weeks to play around with it and give you a little bit more information, pros, cons, things that I've run across, maybe one or two issues. Also, I got a different atomizer and I've been using it on this almost exclusively, and it is a clone of the Pico RTA. It's an RTA or RTA rather, that's become a little bit more popular over the last, I guess, 2 or 3 months. It's a great little system. It comes with a couple of build decks that are kind of K-Fun-esque, and it also has an option that I like to use the Joytech CLR coils in it. That's the main reason I picked this up, other than its kind of dinky stature. Now, again, the Council Vapor Mini Volt, just to kind of refresh on it, I'm going to give you a couple of different stats that I gave before. I said that this was originally a 56mm in height box mod. It is. I wasn't too sure about the width. It turns out that it's 35mm in width, and in depth, going in that direction, it's 22mm. So your 22mm addies fit nice and flush on this. And like I said, I did take this apart, and I said it had a 18500 battery in it. It's actually an 18450 as it turns out, and it is still a 1200 milliamp hour battery. Now, curiously, what I've noted about that is that other manufacturers, people who are actually selling this, list it as a 1300 milliamp hour battery. But if you go to the Council of Vapor's website, they list it as a 1200 milliamp hour battery. I don't know if they're doing that in response to a couple of people like myself saying, hey, this is actually a 1200 milliamp hour battery, or if there was just some sort of miscommunication before these were distributed. A couple of things have changed about this since then, my previous review. This is available in 3 colors now. You get the black on black that you have here. Comes in a really sexy looking red, where you've still got the black carbon fiber all around the edge, and then all of this rubberized finish is actually red with a black silk screening, and it also comes in kind of a smoky charcoal gray color as well. So you've got some options. I have seen a few vendors carrying the red. I haven't seen the gray yet, but the Council of Vapor's website, and I'll post a link below, they do actually have pictures of it, so take a look, see what you like. I've kind of run this thing through its paces, especially with this new atomizer that I'll get into in just a minute. And I'm still really impressed with it. It's still kind of a no frills, no nonsense 40-watt box mod, that's all it is. And it's small, very stealthy. Even someone with small hands like me can pretty well cover it up. 5-click on and off, nice easy ways to adjust the power settings and whatnot. I've got a little bit better lighting in here, so I'll go ahead and show you how you adjust power. That's the screen that you're going to get pretty well from default. Right now it's telling you nothing because I don't have an atomizer. But if you press the power and up pebble button at the same time, the screen is going to start to flash. Here, let me get it up for you. And you see the wattage flash, and you can just adjust. And if you hold it down, it starts trucking along pretty quickly. Not the fastest thing in the world, but for 40 watts, certainly fast enough. Another thing that I was wrong about, this actually has a range of 5 to 40 watts. I think I stated 8 to 40 watts, so my bad. Let's go ahead and get this thing back up to 40. Alright, and whenever you're done, you can let it sit there and flash, and it'll select itself, or just hit the power button, and boom, there you go. Press the down and power button, and you can change your ramp up mode. And then, oh, wrong button. Let's do the other button. Now you can select power, soft, standard. I generally just leave it in power mode. Now again, these power modes, the ramp up modes, they're similar to like the X-Cube 2 bunch of Sigelli products, where they basically provide you a ramp up. In soft mode, it'll take your wattage. Let's say you're trying to do this at a 40-watt vape. It'll take your 40 watts, bump it down to about 30, and then give you a nice slow 3 or 4 second ramp up where it actually comes up to the 40 watts. In standard mode, it might bump it down only to 35, give you about a 2-second ramp up to that 40, so it's a little steeper and a little faster to get there because it's starting at a higher wattage. In power mode, you're just going to get the full 40 watts from the second you push the button. It just, boom, it's a straight line, the graph just goes straight across. So that's really all there is to that. Now, I've had this thing and run it through its paces, like I said, for a good month or so. The finish is holding up pretty good. I've actually dropped this thing once. You can kind of see it right there at the corner. It's got a little booger, but I did that. It's not wearing out. The 510 pin still looks really good. Still nice and springy. The screen still looks good. I haven't had any issues with this, but one. And it's happened to me 3, maybe 4 times. When I plug this thing in or unplug it, once in a great while, like I said, 3, 4 times over the last month or so, the thing locks up completely. Turns completely off, the screen goes black, it doesn't charge, it doesn't fire, you can't turn it on, can't turn it off, can't do anything. For about 3 minutes, 3-4 minutes, something like that. And if I leave an atomizer attached to it, 3 or 4 minutes later, I'll hear a little tiny tss, a hiss. The atomizer actually fires for about a quarter of a second. And it comes back on and life is good again until it decides to do that again. Not sure what that's about, and I've seen other people online who have had the same issue with the device, so that's just something to keep in mind. I've also heard of people having bigger issues with these, the screen completely glitching out, the thing completely dying. I haven't had any of that. The problem I have, again, maybe once a week I see this, and it's about a 3 or 4 minute wait. Not a big deal. If I have any more issues with it, I'll certainly go ahead and return the thing. But one thing that I've read online is that Council of Vapor is really, really good with their customer service, and they will return these absolutely no questions. I'll just give you a new one. Really, I haven't heard any other issues about them. So let's move on to the atomizer that I chose for this particular mod. Now, I was using a Joytech Ego 1 with the CLR coils in it, just because I'm pretty impressed with the CLR coils. And I chose this tank here, the Pico RTA. It's made by Yellow Kiss. This is a clone, though. Really good clone, by the way, and I'll post a link below where I got it. It's a 30mm in height atomizer from the top of the tank to the bottom, not including the 510 or drip tip. Comes completely apart. It's full of juice, so I'm not going to do that right now. And it's got adjustable airflow on one side with those 3 holes. Comes with an acrylic or PMMA tank, whatever you want to call it, so that could be kind of a con to some people. It's not a big deal for me because I vape exclusively tobacco juices. And yeah, what I've been doing with this is instead of using the build deck that it comes with, I've been using the CLR deck. So let me show you what it comes with. It comes in a bag. It came with just a plain Jane brown box, no sticker, no nothing on it, and it came with this bag in it. The atomizer, not that drip tip, that's my own. The atomizer and all the stuff that's in this bag was in the box, and that's it. Again, it's a clone. So what it came with was the clear acrylic tank. I went ahead and replaced that with the with the charcoal colored tank, just because it matches the model a little better. Comes with this drip tip here, this little tiny nubbin guy. It's made out of PEI. It's a really heat resistant plastic and actually works really well on these tanks, and it fits really nice and snug and solid. I just can't stand the color of the thing, so I haven't been using it. Comes with the PEI tank, same plastic. Again, I think it's butt ugly, so, and the drip tip actually fits really well in that too. I just think it's hideous. And this little tiny baggie here, filled with all of your other stuff. Let me show you what's in here. You get your ubiquitous little blue guy. Get your spares bag. You got a couple of O-rings in there. Looks like 2 extra screws. And this thing has 3 deck options available. One, you've got the CLR adapter that I purchased. This actually came, or actually I didn't purchase it separately. It came with this kit. There's an option for a microchamber RTA deck. Didn't come with this one. I'm not too terribly worried about it. And then you get this guy. This is a very K-Fun-esque style deck. The top just pops right off. And then the inside, it looks a lot like a K-Fun. airflow down at the bottom, little 510 pin that actually goes through your deck. Something to keep in mind if you plan on building on this is you actually have to remove this from the deck to build on it, so it could be kind of a pain. You might be taking it apart, popping it back in the deck, building, removing it, doing all that stuff, so not a huge deal. This thing is huge though. Compared to the tank, it eats up just about 2/3 of the diameter of it. And even with this in there, the tank will hold 3 milliliters of juice. With the CLR adapter in there, I find that it holds about 3.5, 3.6, 3.7, something like that milliliters of juice. Not bad. Another reason that I'm using it. I have built on this, and it works perfectly fine. I'm not a huge fan of it because of the way that these wick channels are. They're really high. You see where the threading is? That's where you actually screw it down into the deck, and the bottom of the tank goes about maybe halfway between the threading and the actual juice channel. So that last half mil of juice that you've got, it's not accessible to your wicks unless you've got trailing wicks. I'm not a big fan of that because it just doesn't work as well. Or unless you're doing the old Jenny tip, you know. Again, not really my cup of tea there. But all that being said, that's not the reason I purchased this. I purchased it for the CLR kit that's in there. And you can see that little top screw-on piece there. It actually replaces the top of the CLR coil. You would take the top of your CLR coil off, you throw that away. I'm going to post another video review down below, a great review of the Pico RTA that A Bloody Good Vaping did, and he goes through all three of the build decks. As far as clone quality goes on this, it's a 1-to-1. I mean, some people online have done reviews of the clone versus the authentic, and they really can't tell a difference. And this thing's great. So what I've done with the CLR coil, that thing, you can see it in there with the threading. Let's see if I can get you to focus. There we go. You can see the threading in there. It looks like a little threaded pipe. That's actually the CLR coil. I've taken off the juice flow control ring and of course took the top off so that I could use this adapter. And then you just build these coils as normal. What I've done in here is a stainless steel 316 vertical at about 0.75 ohms. And that seems just to be rocking it on this. I can hit 40 watts in power mode, no problem, and it's just chuckified vapor. It's producing great flavor because the tank is so small. I like everything about this, and I've got my little Derringer drip tip on there just because it's a tiny guy. I'm going to keep it tiny. So let's go ahead and put her back on here. Make sure my airflow is lined up. Boop, boop, boop. And from top to bottom, including the drip tip, from the bottom of the mod all the way to the top of the drip tip, I'm measuring about 93, 94 millimeters. That's tiny. I mean, look at that. Little guy hands covering this up. And this thing is just really a cloud-chasing beast. Let me show you what I've got it set on. 0.74 ohms, 40 watts, power mode. Thing wicks beautifully, and this is a vertical coil that I built in here, so you just got to keep in mind as you're doing vertical coils, don't pack it too tight. You're not packing a cartomizer. It has to be nice and loose or the juice isn't going to flow through it. The way I've got it set up though right now, I've got no flooding. A couple issues with this tank that I've noticed, and it's issues with the authentic as well, especially with the CLR base. The 510 pin is just a little floating tab that sits on top of the disc that this base actually allows the CLR coils to screw into. So you screw a disc into your deck base, you screw the tank into that. You got to have a floating 510 pin. It's just sitting there with a peak insulator. That's it. If you don't screw that disc down really hella tight, and then screw your atomizer coil down in there really hella tight, your 510 pin's gonna move, and you're gonna get an atomizer short, and or condensation that flows into your coil is going to leak out and start oozing all over your mod. Not good. I've had it happen to me a couple times. Not an issue with the device, more of an issue with user error. I just didn't take that into account and do it properly. The only things that you want to be careful with, not screwing down really too tight, is the actual tank itself. Don't screw it to the base too tight. And the top fill method, let me pull this drip tip off. I'm kind of digging it. Let me get rid of the mod here so that I can get everything in camera shot. This entire top disc here just screws off. And I might have little enough juice in here that I can actually tilt to the camera and show you the little fill holes. Some sort of needle nose bottle will work fine. Even the little plastic needle nose bottles work fine to fill this. Syringe, any type of pointy tip bottle will work fine. If you're trying to use a dropper bottle, you're going to have a hell of a time getting it in this, let me tell you. When you're screwing the top down, you need to be careful with that as well, because the tank is acrylic. These are the top and the bottom are stainless steel. They'll strip that acrylic out, and once you do, you're done. You got to use your spare tank and order another one of your liking. After you get that in there, pop your drip tip in. Boom, job's a good one. You're ready to go. And again, this thing really does chuck vapor. It's got adjustable airflow, so let's drop that down to one hole here. And if I start coughing, please forgive me. I don't so much do mouth-to-lung hits anymore, and the juice that I'm using in here, which I'm going to be doing a review on later, Reaper Blend, great stuff. It does have a little bit of a throat hit. Great for mouth-to-lung. And what I generally do to adjust airflow is I just loosen it up and spin it, because it's just a floating ring. The entire airflow control ring, the AFC ring, just pops off. There we go. Got her lined up, all three holes open, and this is not a cloud chasing machine. You only got those three little tiny air holes, there's nothing on the other side. That's all the airflow you're getting. That said, a slightly restricted lung hit is definitely possible with this. And it chucks. The flavor out of this tank, regardless of whatever deck you use, is outstanding. And I've just been really impressed with the CRLR coils, especially in this tank. This tank really gives the CRLR coils a new life, because you're actually removing the entire top of that coil, the part that screws down, and it's just wide open. I mean, these things wick like a beast in this tank, and I'm hitting 40 watts no problem. I've had this tank hooked up to my eVic VTC Mini, and they'll do 50 watts. 50 watts on a CRLR coil. That's awesome. And that's with a 0.75 build. Nothing. 0.74. Sorry. And lots of vapor. Sorry about that. Really not a whole lot else to say about this tank. It's a great little device. It's not the most user-friendly thing in the world. It's a little finicky. You're going to faff around with it a little. But it's really rewarding. It provides great flavor. Gives you a whole lot of options, especially with the CRLR coils. Or if you just want to use the build deck that comes with it, rock it out. I mean, if you've built a K-Fun, you can build on this, no problem. Not sure what else to say. I'll post some links below where you can pick this up on Fasttech. Word on that, there are multiple clones of the Pico RTA. Do yourself a favor. Pick up the most expensive one that they have. It's about 23 American dollars, US dollars rather. You do get the CRLR adapter with it, and you just get a better, higher quality clone. Something I've noticed with clones, the Haze RDA, or Dripper Tank rather, the more you spend on a clone, the better. I can't afford the authentic of one of these. I could, but I just can't justify spending 160 euros on this, which breaks down to somewhere around 180 bucks right now. Whereas I could pick up a clone that, as far as everyone is saying, including me, is a one-to-one clone and works like a champ. Again, I'll post a link below. I'll post a link to A Bloody Good Vaping's review on this. Check it out. It is very comprehensive. He gives you a lot of the same information I just did, more of it, more detailed. And I'll post a couple of links to the Council of Vapor mini volt as well. I'll post a direct link to their website, because that wasn't available. The page on the mini volt wasn't available when I did the last review. Nothing else to say about this. So again, thanks for swinging by YouTube, and have a good one. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me cloud you out.